And it come to pass at the end of the 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed. And see, he stood by the river, and see, there come up out of the river 7 well-favored cows, and they fed on a meadow. And see, 7 other cows come up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean, and stood by the other cows upon the edge of the river. And the ugly and lean cows did eat up the 7 well-favored fat cows. So Pharaoh awoke, and he slept and dreamed the second time, and see 7 ears of corn come up upon one stalk, abundant and tough, and see 7 thin ears blasted with the east wind spring up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 abundant full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and see, it was a dream. And it come to pass in the morning that his YAHUSHA was troubled, and he sent and called all the magicians of Mitzrayim and all the wise men. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none that could interpret them to Pharaoh. Then spoke the chief butler to Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my fault this yom. Pharaoh was angry with his avadim, and put me in prison in the captain of the guard's bait, both me and the chief baker. And we dreamed a dream in one Laila, both he and I. We dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. And there was there with us a young man, an Ivri, and Evet to the captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dream. To each man according to his dream he did interpret. And it come to pass how he interpreted to us. So it was, me he restored to my office, and him he hanged. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him quickly out of the dungeon. And he shaved himself, he changed his clothes, and came to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I dream a dream, there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard it said of you that you can understand a dream to interpret it. And Joseph answered to Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me, Elohim shall give Pharaoh an answer with Shalom. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, In my dream, see, I stood upon the bank of the river, and see, there came up out of the river 7 cows, fat-fleshed and well-favored, and they fled in a meadow. And see, 7 other cows came up after them, poor and very ugly and lean, such as I never saw in all the land of Mitzrayim for ugliness. And the lean and ill-favored cows did eat up the first 7 fat cows. And when they have eaten them up, it could not be known that they have eaten them, but they were ugly as at the beginning. So I awoke, and I saw in my dream, and see 7 ears come up in one stalk, full and tough, and see 7 ears withered, thin and blasted with the east wind, sprang up after them. And the 10 ears devoured the 7 tough ears. And I told this to the magicians, but there was none that could declare it to me. And Joseph said to Pharaoh, The dreams of Pharaoh are echad. Elohim has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. 7 tough cows are 7 years, and the 7 tough ears are 7 years. The dream is echad. The 7 thin and ugly cows that come up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine. This is the thing that I have spoken to Pharaoh. What Elohim is about to do, he shows to Pharaoh. See, there comes 7 years of great and plenty throughout all the land of Mitzrayim, and there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Mitzrayim. The famine shall consume the land, and the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of the famine following, for it shall be very severe. Because the dream was repeated to Pharaoh twice, it is because the thing that is established by Elohim and Elohim will shortly bring it to pass. Now therefore let Pharaoh seek for a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Mitzrayim. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Mizraim in 7 plentiful years. Let them gather all the food of those 12 years that come up and laid up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities, and that food shall be reserved for the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Mizraim, so that the land perishes not through the famine. And the things was very tough in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his avadim. And Pharaoh said to his avadim, Can we find such one as this, a man in whom is the ruach of Elohim? And Pharaoh said to Yosef, See, that Elohim has shown you all this. There is none so discreet and wise as you are. And you shall be over all my bait, and according to your word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the Keseh will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Yosef, See, I have set you over all the land of Mizraim. And Pharaoh took off his ring upon his hand and put it upon Yosef's hand, and prepared him in his garment of fine linen, and put a gold chain around his neck. And he made him to ride in a second mikvah that he had. And they cried before him, Bow their knee, and he made him ruler over all the land of Mizraim. And Pharaoh said to Yosef, I am Pharaoh, and without you shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Mizraim. And Pharaoh called Yosef's name Zaphnath Paaneah, and gave him as his Isha Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On. And Yosef went out over all the land of Mizraim, and Yosef was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, Melech of Mizraim. And Yosef went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout the land of Mizraim. And in the 7 plentiful years, the earth brought out by handfuls, and he gathered up all the food for the 7 years, which was in the land of Mizraim, and laid up the food in the city, the food of the field, which was all around every city. And he laid up the same. And Yosef gathered much corn as the sand of the sea until he stopped numbering, for he was without number. And to Yosef were born 2 sons before the years of the famine came, which Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bore to him. And Yosef called the name of the Bachor Manasseh, for he said, Elohim had made me forget all my toils and all my past in my Abba's bait. And the name of the second son he called Ephraim, for Elohim has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. And the 7th year of plenty that was in the land of Mizraim had ended, and the 7 years of scarcity began to come according to what Yosef had said. And the scarcity was in all lands, but in the land of Mizraim there was lechem. And when the land of Mizraim was famished, and the people cried to Pharaoh for lechem, and Pharaoh said to all the Mizraim, Go to Yosef, and what he said to you do. And the famine was over all the face of the earth, and Yosef opened the storehouses and sold to the Mizraim. And the famine grew very severe in the land of Mizraim, and all the country came to Mizraim to Yosef to buy corn, because the famine was so severe in all the land. Now when Yaakov saw that there was corn in Mizraim, Yaakov said to his sons, Why do you look at each other? And he said, See, I have heard that there is corn in Mizraim. Go down there and buy from there, that we might live and not die. And Yosef's 10 brothers went down to buy corn in Mizraim. But Benjamin, Yosef's brother, Yaakov did not send with his brothers, for he said perhaps mischief might befall him. And the sons of Israel came to buy corn among those that came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. And Yosef was the governor over the land, and it was he that sold to all the people of the land. And Yosef's brothers came and bowed themselves before him with their faces to the earth. And Yosef saw his brothers, and he knew them, but made himself strange to them, and spoke roughly to them. And he said to them, Where do you come from? And they said, From the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Yosef knew his brothers, but they knew him not. And Yosef remembered the dream that he dreamed about them, and said to them, You are spies. You have come only to see the secrets and operations of the land. And they said to him, No, my master, but to buy food have your avadim come. We are all one man's son. We are upright men. Your avadim are not spies. And he said to them, No, but to see the operation of the land you have come. And they said, Your avadim are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And see, the youngest of this young your Abba, and one is not. And Joseph said to them, That is it, what I spoke to you, saying, You are spies. Hereby you shall be proven. By the Chaim of Pharaoh, you shall not go out from here, except your youngest brother come here. Send one of you, let him get your brother, and you shall be kept in prison, that your word might be proven, whether there be any emet in you, or else by the Chaim of Pharaoh, surely you are spies. And he put them all into prison for 3 yamim. And Joseph said to them, The 3rd yom, this do and live, for I fear Elohim. If you are upright men, let one of your brother be bound in the bait of your prison. But go, carry corn for the famine of your houses. But bring your youngest brother to me, so shall your word be verified, and you shall not die. And they did so, and they said one to another, We are truly guilty concerning our brother, and that we saw the anguish of his being when he begged us, and we will not listen. Therefore is this distress come upon us. And Reuben answered them and saying, Did I not warn you not to sin against the child, and you will not listen? Therefore see, now his dam is required. And they knew not that Joseph understood them, for he spoke to them by an interpreter. And he turned himself around from them and wept, and returned to them again and communed with them, and took from them Shimon and bound him before their eyes. And Joseph commanded to fill the sack with corn, and to restore to every man's money into his sack, and to give them provision for the way. And this he did for them. And they loaded the donkeys with the corn and departed there. And as one of them opened his sack to give his donkey further in the end, and he saw his money, for see, it was in his sack's mouth. And he said to his brother, My money is restored, and see, it is even in my sack. And the Levites failed them, and they were afraid, saying one to another, What is this Elohim has done to us? And they came to Yaakov the Abba to the land of Canaan, and told him all that happened to them, saying, The man who is master of the land spoke roughly to us, and saw us as spies in his country. And we said to him, We are upright men, we are not spies. We are 12 brothers, son of our Abba. One is not, and the youngest is this young with our Abba in the land of Canaan. And the man, the master of the country, said to us, Hereby shall I know that you are upright men. Leave one of your brothers here with me, and take food for the famine of your households, and go, and bring your youngest brother to me. Then shall I know that you are not spies, and that you are upright men. So I will deliver your brother to you, and you shall move around freely in the land. And it came to pass, as they emptied their sack, that see, every man's bundle of money was in his sack. And when both they and the Abba saw the bundle of money, they were afraid. And Yaakov the Abba said to them, All of you have bereaved me of my children. Joseph is not, and Shimon is not, and now you will take Benjamin away. All these things are done against me. And Reuben spoke to his Abba, saying, Slay my 2 sons, if I bring him not back to you. Deliver him into my hand, and I will bring him to you again. And he said, My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. If mischief befalls him by the direction in which you go, then shall you bring down my old age with sorrow to Sheol. And the famine was severe in the land. And it came to pass, when they had eaten up the corn which they had brought out of Mizraim, the Abba said to them, Go again, buy us a little more food. And Yehudah spoke to him, saying, The man did solemnly warn us, saying, You shall not see my face except your brother is with you. If you will send our brother with us, we will go down and buy you food. But if you will not send him, we we will not go down. For the man said to us, you shall not see my face except your brother is with you. And Israel said, why did you deal so badly with me, so as to tell the men whether you had another brother? And they said, the men asked us persistently of our state and of our mishpacha, saying, is your Abba yet alive? Have you another brother? And we answered him according to these words, how could we have known that he would say, bring your brother down? And Yehudah said to Israel his Abba, send the lad with me, and we will arise and go, that we might live and not die, both we and you, and also your little ones. I will surety for him, of my hand shall you require him. If I bring him not to you, send him again before you. Then let me bear the blame, the Olam Vayed. For if we had not lingered, surely by now we will have returned this second time. And the Abba Israel said to them, if it must be so now, do this. Take the best fruits of the land in your vessel and carry down a present to the men, a little balm and a little honey, spices and myrrh, nut and almond, and take double money in your hand, and the money that was brought again in the mouth of your sacks, carried again in your hand, and it could have been a mistake. Take also your brother and arise and go again to the men. And El Shaddai give you rachamim before the men, that he might send away your other brother in Benjamin. If I will be bereaved of my children, I am bereaved. And the men took that present, and took double money in their hand and Benjamin, and rose up and went down to Mizraim, and stood before Yosef. And when Yosef saw Benjamin with them, he said to the ruler of his bait, bring these men home, and make a slaughtering, and make ready, for these men shall dine with me at noon. And the men did as Yosef asked. And the men brought the men into Yosef's bait, and the men were afraid because they were brought into Yosef's bait. And they said, because of the money that was returned in our sacks at the first time are we brought in, that they might seek occasion against us, and fall upon us, and take us for avadim and our donkeys. And they came near to the steward of Yosef's bait, and they communed with him at the door of the bait, and said, O sir, we indeed came down the first time to buy food. And it come to pass, when it came to the end, that we opened our sacks, and see every man's money was in the mouth of his sack, and our money in full weight, and we have brought it again in our hand, and the other money we have brought down in our hand to buy food. We cannot tell who put our money in our sacks. And he said, Shalom be to you. Fear not, your Elohim and the Elohim of your Abba has given you treasure in your sacks. I have your money. And he brought Shimon out to them. And the man brought the men into Yosef's bait, and gave them mayim, and they washed their feet, and he gave the donkey's father. And he made ready the present for Yosef's coming at noon, for they heard that they should eat lechem there. And when Yosef came home, and they brought him the present that was in their hand into the bait, and bowed themselves to him to the earth. And he asked them of the welfare, and said, is your Abba well, the old man of whom you spoke? Is he yet alive? And they answered, your Eved or Abba is in tov health. He is yet alive. And they bowed down their heads and make obeisance. And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his Imah's son, and said, is this your younger brother, about whom you spoke to me? And he said, Elohim give you unmerited favor, my son. And Yosef hurried, for his emotion did yearn for his brother. And he sought somewhere to weep, and entered into his room, and wept there. And he washed his face, and went out, and restrained himself, and said, serve the food. And they set the shulchan for him by himself, and for them by themselves, and the Misrim by themselves, because the Misrim do not eat lechem with the Ivrim, for that is an abomination to the Misrim. And they sat before him, the Bakor according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men marveled at one another. And he took and sent portions to them from before him. But Benjamin's portion was 5 times as much as any of theirs, and they drank and had simcha with them. And he commanded the steward of his bayit, saying, fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry, and put every man's money in his sack's mouth. And put my cup, the silver cup, in the sack's mouth of the youngest, and his corn money. And he did according to the word that Joseph had spoken. And as soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, and they and their donkeys. And when they had gone out of the city, not that far off, Joseph said to his steward, rise up, follow the men. And when you do overtake them, say to them, why have you rewarded evil for tov? Is not this cup the one from which my master drinks, by which he divines? You have done evil in so doing. And he overtook them, and he spoke to them these same words. And they said to him, why says my master these words? Elohim forbid that your avadim should do according to this thing. See, the money which we find in our sack's mouth we brought again to you out of the land of Canaan. Why then should we steal out of your master's bayit his silver or gold? With whoever your avadim is found, let him die. We also will be my master avadim. And he said, now also let it be according to your word. He with whom it is found shall be my eved, and he shall be blameless. Then they speedily took down every man his sack to the ground, and opened every man his sack. And he searched and began at the elders and stopped at the youngest, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. Then they tore the clothes, loaded every man his donkey, and returned to the city. And Yehudah and his brother came to Joseph's bayit, for he was still there, and they fell before him to the ground. And Joseph said to them, what deed is this that you have done? Did you not know that such a man as I can certainly divine? And Yehudah said, what shall we say to my master? What shall we speak, or how shall we clear ourselves? Elohim has found out the iniquity of our avadim. See, we are my master's avadim, but we and he also, with whom the cup is found. And he said, Elohim forbid that I shall do so. But the man in whose hand the cup is found, he shall be my eved. And as for the rest of you, go in shalom to your Abba. Then Yehudah came near to him and said, O my master, please let your eved speak a word in my master's ears. Let not your anger burn against your eved, for you are even as Pharaoh. My master asked his avadim, saying, have you an Abba or a brother? And we said to my master, we have an Abba, an old man, and a child of his old age, a little one, and his brother is dead, and he alone is left of his Ima, and his Abba loves him. And you did say to your avadim, bring him down to me, that I might set my eyes upon him. And we said to my master, the lad cannot leave his Abba, for if he should leave his Abba will die. And you say to your avadim, except your youngest brother comes down with you, you shall see my face no more. And it came to pass, when we came up to your eved, my Abba, we told him with the words of my master. Our Abba said, go again, buy us a little food. And we said, we cannot go down. If our youngest brother will be with us, then we will go down, for we may not see the man's face, unless our youngest brother be with us. And your eved, my Abba, said to us, you know that my Isha bore me 2 sons, and the one went out from me, and said, surely he is torn in pieces. And I saw him not since. And if you take this one also from me, mischief befall him. You shall bring down my old age with sorrow to Sheol. Now therefore, when I come to your eved, my Abba, the lad is not with us, seeing that his Chaim is bound up in the lad's Chaim. It shall come to pass when he sees that the lad is not with us, that he will die, and your avadim shall bring down the old age of your eved or Abba with sorrow to Sheol. For I, your eved, become surety for the lad to my Abba, saying, if I bring him not again to you, then shall I bear the blame to my Abba le'olam va'ed. Now therefore please, let your eved stay instead of the lad as an eved to my master, and let the lad go up with his brothers. For how shall I go up to my Abba and the lad be not with me? For then I will see the evil that will come on my Abba. And Joseph could not restrain himself before all the men that stood by him, and he cried, Make every man go out from me. And there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known to his brothers. And he wept out loud, and the Mitzrayim and the brit of Pharaoh heard. And Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph, does my Abba still live? And his brothers could not answer him, for they were trembling at his presence. And Joseph said to his brothers, Come near to me, please. And they came near, and he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Mitzrayim. Now therefore be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves, that you sold me here. For Elohim did send me before you to preserve Chaim. For these 2 years have the famine been in the land, yet there are still 5 more years, in which there shall be neither plowing nor harvest. And Elohim sent me before you to preserve for you a remnant in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it was not you that sent me here, but Elohim, and he has made me an Abba to Pharaoh, and master of all his brit, and a ruler throughout all the land of Mitzrayim. Hurry and go up to my Abba, and say to him, This say your son Joseph, Elohim has made me master of all Mitzrayim. Come down to me, do not delay, and you shall dwell in the land of Goshen. And you shall be near to me, you and your children, and your children's children, and your flocks and your herds, and all that you have. And there will I nourish you, for there are still 5 years of famine, lest you and your household and all that you have come to poverty. And look, your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin, that it is my mouth that speak to you. And you shall tell my Abba of all my Tiferet and Mitzrayim, and of all that you have seen, and you shall hurry and bring my Abba down here. And he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. Moreover, he kissed all his brothers, and wept upon them, and after that his brother talked with him. And the report was heard in Pharaoh's brit, saying, Joseph's brother have come. And it pleased Pharaoh well, and his avadim. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, Say to your brothers, This do, load your beast, and go into the land of Canaan, and take your Abba and your households, and come to me, and I will give you the Tov land of Mitzrayim, and you shall eat the fat of the land. Now you are commanded, these two, take wagons out of the land of Mitzrayim, for your little ones, and for your wives, and for your Abba, and come. Also do not worry about your items, for the Tov of all the land of Mitzrayim is not yours. And the children of Israel did so. And Joseph gave them wagons according to the commandment of Pharaoh, and gave them provision for the way. To all of them he gave each man changes of clothes, but to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver, and 5 changes of clothing. And to his Abba he sent the following: 10 donkeys loaded with 12 things of Mitzrayim, and 10 female donkeys loaded with corn and lechem, and food for his Abba by the way. So he sent his brothers away, and they departed. And he said to them, See that you don't quarrel on the way. And they went up out of Mitzrayim, and came to the land of Canaan to Yaakov the Abba, and told him, saying, Joseph is still alive, and he is the governor over all the land of Mitzrayim. And Yaakov's left fainted, and he believed them not. And they told him all the words of Joseph that he had said to them. And when he saw the wagons that Joseph had sent to carry him, the ruach of Yaakov the Abba revived. And Yisrael said, It is enough. Joseph my son is still alive. I will go and see him before I die. And Yisrael took his journey with all that he had, and come to Beersheba, and offered sacrifices to the Elohim of his Abba Yitzhak. And Elohim spoke to Yisrael in the vision of the Lala, and said, Yaakov, Yaakov. And he said, Hineni. And he said, I am El, the El of your Abba. Fear not to go down to Mitzrayim, for I will there make of you a great nation, a goy gadol. I will go down with you into Mitzrayim, and I will surely bring you up again, and Joseph shall put his hand upon your eyes. and Yaakov rose up from Beersheba. The sons of Israel carried Yaakov the Abba and the little ones and the wives in the wagons that Pharaoh had sent to carry him. And they took the cattle and the items which they had gotten in the land of Canaan, and came into Mizraim, Yaakov and all his zerah with him, his sons and his sons' sons with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all his zerah he brought with him into Mizraim. And these are the names of the children of Israel who came into Mizraim: Yaakov and his sons, Reuben, Yaakov's Bachor. And the sons of Reuben, Hanoch and Phalu, and Esron and Carmi. And the sons of Shimon, Yemuel and Yamin and Ohad and Yachin and Sor and Shaul, the son of a Canaanitish woman. And the son of Levi, Gershon, Kehat, and Merari. And the sons of Yehudah, and Onan and Shelach and Peretz and Zerach. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the son of Peretz were Etzron and Hamul. And the son of Yisachar, Tola and Phuvah, Eob and Shimron. And the son of Zebulun, Sereg and Elon and Yaleel. And these are the sons of Leah, which she bore to Yaakov in Padan Aram with his daughter Dinah. All the beings of his sons and his daughters were 33. The sons of Gad, Ziphion, and Hagi, and Shuni, and Ezvan, Eli, and Haodi, and Areli. And the sons of Asher, Yimna, Ishua, Isui, and Beriah, and Serah, the sister. And the son of Beriah, Ever, and Malchiel. These are the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to Leah, his daughter, and these she bore to Yaakov, even 16 beings. The sons of Rachel, Yaakov's Isha, Yosef and Benjamin. And to Yosef in the land of Mizraim were born Manasseh and Ephraim, who Asenat, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bore unto him. And the sons of Benjamin were Bela and Becher and Ashvel and Gerah and Naaman, Ei and Rosh, Mopim and Hupim and Hard. These are the sons of Rachel who were born to Yaakov, and all the beings were 14. And the son of Dan, Hushim, and the son of Naphtali, Yaziel and Guni and Yezer and Shilem. These are the sons of Bilhah, who Laban gave to Rachel his daughter, and she bore this to Yaakov. All the being were 7. All the being that came with Yaakov into Mizraim, who came out of his loins, besides Yaakov's sons' wives, all the being were 66. And the sons of Yosef who were born to him in Mizraim were 2 being. All the being of Beit Yaakov who came into Mizraim were 75. And he sent Yehudah before him to Yosef to direct his face to Goshen, and they came into the land of Goshen. And Yosef made ready his Merkavah, and went up to meet Yisrael his Abba in Goshen, and presented him before him. And he fell on his neck and wept on his neck a long while. And Yisrael said to Yosef, Now let me die, since I have seen your face, because you are alive. And Yosef said to his brothers and to his Abba's Bait, I will go up and show Pharaoh, and say to him, My brothers and my Abba's Bait who were in the land of Canaan have come to me. And the men are shepherds, and their trade have been to feed cattle, and they have brought their flocks and their herds, and all that they have. And it shall come to pass, when Pharaoh shall call you, and shall say, What is your occupation? That you shall say, Your Avadim's trade have been with cattle from our youth even till now, both we and also your avot, that you might dwell in the land of Goshen. For every shepherd is an abomination to the Mitzrayim. Then Yosef came and told Pharaoh and said, My Abba and my brothers and their flocks and their herd and all that they have came out of the land of Canaan, And see, they are in the land of Goshen. And he took some of his brothers, even 5 of them, and presented them to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to his brothers, "What is your occupation?" And they said to Pharaoh, "Your avadim are shepherds, both we and our avot." And they say moreover to Pharaoh, "To sojourn in the land we have come, for your avadim have no pasture for their flocks, for the famine is severe in the land of Canaan. Therefore we ask you, let your avadim dwell in the land of Goshen." And Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying, "Your Abba and your brothers have come to you. The land of Mizraim is before you. In the best of the land, make your Abba and your brothers to dwell. In the land of Goshen, let them dwell. And if you know any able man among them, then make them ruler over my cattle." And Joseph brought in Yaakov his Abba and set him before Pharaoh. And Yaakov blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Yaakov, "How old are you?" And Yaakov said to Pharaoh, "The yamim of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have the yamim of the years of my chayim been, and I have not attained to the yamim of the years of the chayim of my avot in the yamim of the pilgrimage." And Yaakov blessed Pharaoh and went out from before Pharaoh. And Yosef placed his Abba and his brothers, gave them a possession in the land of Mizraim, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramesses, as Pharaoh has commanded. And Yosef nourished his Abba and his brothers, and his Abba's entire household, with lechem according to the mishpachot. And there was no lechem in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Mizraim and all the land of Canaan grew weak because of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Mizraim and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's bait. And when the money fell in the land of Mizraim and in the land of Canaan, all the Misri came to Joseph and said, "Give us lechem, for why shall we die in your presence? For the money is gone." And Joseph said, "Give me your cattle, and I will give you food for your cattle, if the money is gone." And they brought the cattle to Joseph, and Joseph gave them lechem in exchange for the horses, and for the flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for the donkeys. And he fed them with lechem for all the cattle for that year. And when that year ended, they came to him the second year and said to him, "We will not hide it from my master, how that our money is spent. My master also had our herds of cattle. There is nothing left in the sight of my master but our bodies and our hands. Why shall we die before your eyes, both for our land and us? Buy us and our land for lechem, and we will be avadim to Pharaoh. And give us zerah, that we might live and not die, that the land be not desolate." And Joseph brought all the land of Mizraim to Pharaoh, for the land of Mizraim saw every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them. So the land became Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he removed them to cities from one end of the borders of Mizraim even to the other ends of it. Only the land of the Kohanim brought he not, for the Kohanim had a portion assigned to them by Pharaoh, and did eat the portion which Pharaoh gave them. That is why they did not sell the lands. Then Joseph said to the people, "See, I have brought you this yom and your land to Pharaoh. Look, here is zerah for you, and you shall sow the land. And it shall come to pass in the increase, that you shall give the 5th part to Pharaoh, and 4th part shall be your own, for your zerah of the field, and your food, and for those of your household, and for your little ones." And they said, "You have saved our lives. Let us find favor in the sight of my master, and we will be Pharaoh's avadim." And Joseph made it the law over the land of Mizraim to this yom, that Yaakov should have the 5th part, except the land of the Kohanim, which did not become Pharaoh's. And Israel dwelt in the land of Mizraim in the country of Goshen. And they had possessions in it, and grew and multiplied exceedingly. And Yaakov lived in the land of Mizraim 17 years. So the full age of Yaakov was 147 years. When the time drew near that Yisrael must die, and he called his son Yosef and said to him, If now I find favor in your sight, put your hand under my thigh for the loath and deal in chesed and emet with me. Please do not bury me in Mizraim, but I will die with my avot, and you shall carry me out of Mizraim and bury me in the burial place. And he said, I will do as you have said. And he said, Swear to me. And he swore to him, and Yisrael bowed himself upon the bed's head. And it came to pass after these things that one told Yosef, See, your Abba is sick. And he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And one told Yaakov and said, See, your son Yosef comes to you. And Yisrael strengthened himself and sat upon the bed. And Yaakov said to Yosef, El Shaddai appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me, and said to me, See, I will make you fruitful and multiply you, and I will make you into a congregation of nations, Ka'al Amim. And I will give this land to your Zerah after you for an everlasting possession. And now your two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, who were born to you in the land of Mizraim before I came to you in Mizraim, are mine. As Reuben and Shimon they shall be mine, and your issue which you beget after them shall be yours, and shall be called after the name of their brothers in their inheritance. As for me, when I came from Padan, Rachel died next to me in the land of Canaan on the way, when yet there was but a little way to come to Ephrat. And I buried her there in the derech of Ephrat. The same is Bethlehem. And Israel beheld Yosef's son and said, Who are these? And Yosef said to his Abba, They are my son, who Elohim has given me in this place. And he said, Please bring them to me, and I will bless them. Now the eyes of Israel were dim for age, so that he could not see, and he brought them near to him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Israel said to Yosef, I had not thought to see your face ever again. See, Elohim has shown me also your Zerah. And Yosef brought them out from before his knees, and he bowed himself with his face towards the earth. And Yosef took them both, Ephraim in his right hand towards Yisrael's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Yisrael's right hand, brought them near. And Yisrael stretched out his right hand and laid upon Ephraim's head, who was the youngest, and his left hand upon Manasseh's head, and guiding him with his hand knowingly, for Manasseh was the Bachor. And he blessed Yosef and said, Elohim, before whom my avot Abraham and Israel did have the halakha, the Elohim who fed me all my chaim, long life this yom, the Malach who redeemed me from all evil. Bless the lads, and let the name of Israel be named upon them, and the name of my avot Abraham and Yitzhak. Let them grow in multitude like fish, Vaidagu Le'rov, in the midst of the earth. And when Yosef saw that his Abba laid his right hand upon the head of Ephraim, it displeased him, and he helped his Abba's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. And Yosef said to Abba, Not so, my Abba, for this is the Bachor. Put your right hand upon his head. And his Abba refused and said, I know it, my son, I know it, and it shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than him, and his Zerah shall become fullness of the nation, Melo HaGoyim. And he blessed them that yom, saying, And you shall Israel bless, saying, Elohim make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh, Ephraim before Manasseh. And Israel said to Yosef, See, I die, but Elohim shall be with you and bring you again into the land of your avot. Moreover, I have given to you one portion above your brothers that I took out of the land of the Amorite with my sword and with my bow. And Yaakov called his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I might tell you that which shall befall you in the last Yamim. Gather yourselves together and listen, you sons of Yaakov, and listen to Yisrael, your Abba. Reuven, you are my Bachor, my might and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. Unstable as Mayim, you shall not excel, because you went into your Abba's bed, then defiled it, and he went up to my couch. Shimon and Levi are brothers, instruments of cruelty are their dwelling. O my being, come not into the secret. Let not my honor be united to the congregation. For in their anger they kill a man, and in their displeasure and self-will they harm strong and ox for pleasure. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their anger, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Yaakov and scatter them in Israel. Yehudah, you are he whom your brothers shall allel. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your Abba's children shall bow down before you. Yehudah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you shall gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall you rouse him up? The spectre shall not depart from Yehudah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes and the things received for him. To him shall the gathering and the expectation of the nation be, bidding his foal to the vine and his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He washed his garment in wine and his clothes in the dam of grape. His eyes shall be red with wine and his teeth white with milk. Zebulun shall dwell at haven of the sea, and he shall be for a haven of sheep, and his borders shall be to Sidon. Issachar is a strong donkey, couching down between two burdens. And he saw that the rest was tov, and the land that it was pleasant, and bow his shoulder to bear, and become an eved to tribute. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribe of Israel. Then shall be a serpent in the way, an adder in the path that bites the horse heel, so that its rider shall fall backward. I have waited for you, Yahusha, O Yahuwah. Gad a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the end. Out of Asher his lechem shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. Naphtali is a deer let loose, he gave beautiful words. Yosef is a fruitful bough, even fruitful bow well, which branches run over the wall. The archers are severely grieved him, and shot him and hated him. But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty Elohim of Yaakov. From there comes the shepherd and the stone of Israel, even by the El of your Abba, who shall help you, and by the Almighty, who shall bless you with brachot of the Shamayim above, brachot of the deep that lies beneath, brachot of the breast and of the room, the brachot of your Abba that prevail over the brachot of my ancestors, to outer borders of the everlasting hill. They shall be on the head of Yosef, and on the kether of the head of him that separate from his brother. Benjamin shall tear a roof, in the morning he shall devour the prey, and at Lala shall he divide the plunder. And all these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is what the Abba spoke to them and blessed them. Everyone according to the bracha he blessed them. And he charged them and said to them, I am to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my avot in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that which is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the land of Canaan, that Abraham brought along with the field of Ephron the Hittite for a possession for a burial place. There they buried Abraham and Sarah his Isha. There they buried Yitzhak and Rivka his Isha. And there I buried Leah. The purchase of the field and of the cave that is there was from the children of Chet. And when Yaakov had made an end of commending his son, he gathered up his feet into the bed and yielded up the ruach and was gathered to his people. And Yosef fell on his Abba's face and wept upon him and kissed him. And Yosef commanded his avadim, the physician, to humble his Abba, and the physician humbled Israel. And 40 yamim were fulfilled for him, for so are fulfilled the yamim of those who are humbled. And the Mitzrim mourned for him 70 yamim. And when the yamim of his mourning were past, Yosef spoke to the bait of Pharaoh, saying, If now I find favor in your eyes, please speak to Pharaoh, saying, My Abba made me swear, saying, See, I desire to die in my grave that I have dug for myself in the land of Canaan. There shall you bury me. Now therefore let me go, please, and bury my Abba, and I will return again. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury your Abba, even as we made you swear. And Yosef went up to bury his Abba. With him went up all the avadim of Pharaoh, the shamashim of his bait, and all the shamashim of the land of Mizraim, and all the beit Yosef and his brothers and his Abba's bait. Only the little ones and the flocks and the herds they left in the land of Goshen. And then went up with them both merkavot and horsemen, and it was a very great company. And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan River, and there they mourned with great and very severe lamentation. And he mourned with his Abba Sheva Yamim. And when the inhabitant of the land of the Canaanites saw the mourning and the floor of Atad, they said, This is a severe mourning for the Mitzrim. Therefore the name of it was called Havel Mitzrayim, which is beyond the Jordan. And the sons did to him according to all the commandments. For his sons carried him into the land of Canaan, and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah, that Abraham brought along in the field as a possession for a burial place from Ephron the Hittite before Mamre. And Yosef returned into Mizraim, he and his brothers and all that went up with him after he had buried his Abba. And when Yosef's brothers saw that the Abba was dead, they said, Yosef maybe will hate us and will certainly repay us all the evil that we did to him. And they sent a messenger to Yosef, saying, Your Abba did command before he died, saying, So shall you say to Yosef, Please forgive the trespass of your brothers, for their sin, for they did to you evil. And now we beg you, forgive the trespass of the avadim of the Elohim of your Abba. And Yosef wept when they spoke to him, and his brother also went and fell down before his face. And they said, See, we will be your avadim. And Yosef said to them, Fear not, for am I in the place of Elohim? But as for you, you thought evil against me, but Elohim made it for tov, to bring to pass, as it is this yom, to save many people alive. Now therefore fear not, I will nourish you and your little ones. And he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. And Yosef dwelt in Mizraim, he and his Abba's bait, and Yosef lived 110 years old. And Yosef saw Ephraim's children until the third generation. The children also of Machir, the son of Manasseh, were brought up upon Yosef's knee. And Yosef said to his brothers, I will soon die, and Elohim will surely visit you and bring you out of this land to the land which you swore to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Yaakov. And Yosef took a note from the children of Israel, saying, Elohim will surely visit you, and you shall carry my bone from here. And Yosef died being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he put in a coffin in Mizraim.